This is Astral Plane. Man, that's like two really trippy but like big exposition episodes at the same time. I'm really glad this was the one that kind of followed up because, you know, after waiting a whole week to see these again, it's kind of a nice reminder and like introduction to some of these characters again. It's like, oh, there's Ice King, oh, there's Marceline, oh, Bouncy House Princess, we saw her before, right? Yeah, okay. So it's kind of a nice little slow, as laid back as, you know, a comet coming at you can be. And man, even our shoes are kind of similar. Like, look at that. We both have kind of the black and white. I was just saying how, like, yeah, we're both wearing red.
But I have my GIF up on Life pants.
Yes. Yeah, but I haven't changed these pants since like 5 years.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? So, mine's black at the bottom. God damn it! Okay, no, yours is black at the bottom too. God damn it! Okay, the episode. I really like the. I don't even know how you explain it. No, I want to say dreamlike, but it even kind of goes beyond it. It's like somewhere between like being awake and being asleep,
astral
kind of
projection.
Or
that's the astral plane.
But yeah, I'll be honest, I never actually knew what the astral plane was. I just always heard it said like in cartoons where they had to say like science babble and stuff, so I never quite knew. I just thought it was kind of like, the outer limits or something like that, just kind of like a world you don't see that's like, so is that what it is? It's like between being awake and being asleep?
Well, it depends on who you talk to. Honestly, I don't want to get into any arguments or fights because someone will say it's this, someone will say it's that. As far as from what I've read and what I believe, it's a state where your consciousness leaves your body.
Okay.
And goes to somewhere else. And Finn just kind of leaves his body and kind of travels around, but like other people believe that it's like an entirely new like plane of existence. Mm-hmm. So
okay, so that's kind of what he goes through, and I like how he doesn't have control over where he goes. His body just kind of takes him, and half the time he's not even looking the right direction. He's going backwards and stuff. So I really like that, and I like he just keeps flying higher and higher up. Till we get to, as a Space Lard? Is that what they were?
Yeah.
We saw the birth of Space Lard, and it gets very, very existential, because then he meets up with, Glob, which we saw before,
Glob,
right?
Grodd.
Yeah, it was like the various...
Glob, and I forgot the fourth one. Yeah, but the four versions are names of God.
I was saying, because I misheard, I thought he said, do you ever say, oh my Glob? He's like, no, but Gob does. I thought he said God for a second, and you know what? I want one of them just to be named God. And it's not even like the all-powerful whatever, it's just one of the other Globs or whatever, one of the other rulers, because that'd be hilarious. But, yeah, so he goes up and he sees there's Glob and I think four of them, and, this comet is coming, and it's going to destroy Mars, it looks like, and it turns out it comes every 1,000 years,
yeah.
Right? And some sort of big change happens every time it comes, but this one's really off its course. So, the people on Mars, including Starman and Evacuation Man, are trying to stop it, and he gets in a talk with Finn, and Finn's like, yeah, what's the point of, all of this if you're just going to blow up anyway, and not even thinking about it, he just launches towards this thing, and I guess Glob is dead, which... That's another great line, just Glob is dead. Like, that's really funny. But watch, then they'll make Adventure Time propaganda saying Glob is not dead. And it'll be like this really one-sided, insane ramblings that for some reason will be a hit and even get a sequel. But, yeah, so then Finn goes down. This comet is now heading towards Earth. It was originally heading towards Mars, now it's heading towards Earth. But Finn says, let's help Bouncy House Princess. I think she needs our help.
Well, what was in said comet?
Which one? The Glob is dead, or...?
No, what was in the comment?
Oh, I thought you said comment for a second. I'm like, what does that mean? Yes, that's right. God, again, so much happens in this. Finn's dad is in the comment. Yeah, and he's driving it looks like. I guess that's why it's off course.
Yeah.
But why is he in it at all? So, yeah, I feel like... And I'm not gonna lie, because we're watching these on Hulu now, like, the next two, I'm like... Man, this just seems like a week's worth of exposition dump. I'm just seeing the pictures of the ones coming up. I'm like, oh my god, this is just like, it seems like the next couple is gonna be like this big continuing story. So yeah, pretty just get right back into it, feet running. But no, I liked how it was still done their way. It's like sort of this dreamlike state. It's kind of laid back. You see Ice King at a party not getting along. You see Marceline just playing a song in the sky. You see that weird fox who also is having that experience too, and he's just doing, was it a crossword puzzle? Sudoku, yeah. It's like, that was rude. Hope he comes back. So I kind of like that. I like it's kind of like this big horrible thing is going to happen, but it's in this very half awake, half asleep state. So no, I thought it was pretty cool. What'd you think?
I like it's kind of... Okay, I forgot to mention in the last episode what I thought one thing was stated was violence begets more violence. Evergreen treated Gunter really poorly, hit him, pushed him around, which at one point in time, Gunter turns, and I keep forgetting the pet's name, but ends up hitting the pet. Which was kind of out of nowhere because he was so nice to it.
Yeah, at first I was laughing at that, but then when you brought that up, I'm like, yeah, that's a good point, actually. That really ties into the message at the end.
And in this one, the message that I really like, how do I put it? I like loneliness. Because he goes from one person to another. The fox, who even in his astral state, doesn't even leave his own home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
And he's so lonely. And Finn says it as he's pulling away, And then he sees Bounce House Princess, who is OCD, has a panic room, and has to tell herself, okay, I can meet new people, I can do this. Again, lonely. Terrified to go out around people, even though she had 3 things inside of her. But then you see Marceline, all alone, in the sky, just playing to herself, and he brings up, does loneliness help you create better things? And then
and even Ice King, he's at a party, but then he gets rid of them all.
And he's just kind of like, it was boring anyways, whatever. Again, it's that whole sense of, all this loneliness is going on, and then he sees the birth, and he's like, well, maybe that's more important. And I think it's a lot of what kids, teens, and even adults go through. You get to a certain point where it's just like, everything's like, yeah, but what's the point? In the end, you're just kind of alone, and all that stuff. Where does it go to? Well, you finally have a kid. Well, maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what keeps you going. And in the end, we're all going to die, which is what, the comet could represent. It's just, in the end, we're all going to die, so what's the point? And God, Glob, and... Damn it!
Grab. We'll call him Grab.
Grab. He's like, but it doesn't mean you have to stop. Because he's like, would you just expect me to stand here and let all these people die? And he flies off and tries to, he fixes the comet's course. And again, it's that whole thing of where do you begin, where do you end, and how should you deal with it? And I think it did it in a very interesting way. Not this whole, in the end, it doesn't give you the answer. It still kind of leaves it up to you, because when it comes back down, and he's like, man, wait a minute, this is crazy. God's dead. Pretty much in the end, God's dead, and we should go help someone.
Yeah, and it seemed very instinctual, too. Just he knows someone's trapped here. I'm like, well, let's just go do that. So it's not just, a choice thing. There's this sense of, it's kind of what he would naturally want to do anyway, is kind of what we're almost programmed to do. So... No, that's a lot better than what I had. I'm just like, it was cool, laid back. I kind of liked it. I'm just like, shit, that's much more well thought out than what I said. No, but I think you really hit it. I think all of that is, it feels very on the money. And, and again, the way you said, and even him seeing this and experiencing it, he's experiencing it alone. Because they can't see him. The only one that could see him is the fox. Well, and then Glob. But, I mean, he's...
Lards.
Yeah, hold on. Or was he... Yeah, no, they must have, because...
Remember, he got a ride on him, and they give him...
Yeah, that's the only one he could touch them, which is interesting. I was kind of like, so they're the only ones he can touch. That's kind of interesting. Could it be taken that maybe they weren't seeing him? He just happened to be in the right spot when they... do the laser thing and do the birth and everything and then fly up. Although he said, can you see me? I think they're hinting that they can, but they never fully say.
So basically, if you break it down, you have the fox, who's in his own astral state, can see him because they're same plane of existence, and then God, Grob, all that, can see him because he's Gob, Grob, Glob, and all that, and Grab. So there's that, but yeah, maybe with the Lards, it could just be literally, like you said, just happen to be at the right spot at the right time. They don't actually see him, they don't actually, hear him, and the big boost was just kind of on accident.
Yeah, like he just happened to be right in the center when they did that blast that gave birth, because, what... They're just showing him birth, I guess? Just even in at least giving him the ride is kind of like, oh, well, they're bringing him to this thing, but, why would they necessarily show him birth? Although we don't know what they are. Maybe they do, know everything and know what you're thinking and whatever.
Don't forget about the milk.
Yeah, he has that rare milk. Yeah, I kind of like that. I think they're hinting at that they can see him, but I kind of like that.
Well, the baby Lard, because Finn's like, oh, little baby, and the baby's like, kind of looks down at Finn, so yeah.
Okay, they're probably hinting that they can see him then.
So more like celestial beings, things out of our grasp of, human knowledge, in a sense, maybe.
Yeah.
Is what can see us.
Yeah, and just everything, the pacing and kind of how quiet a lot of parts were and how slowly it moved, and even just the way he moved. I thought that was very nicely done. Like I said, very, very dreamlike and very kind of relaxing, but kind of almost panicky too, having no control, and then there's a comet coming and stuff. So I really like all that. I thought it was very nicely done. So yeah, that's about it for this one. And you gonna go get that?
No, you're not gonna get me this time.
Is it a pepper or a carrot?
It's a carrot.
It's a carrot.
It's a carrot.
Do you have one that's a pepper?
No. Why would my cat have a pepper?
Why would he have a carrot?
Because it's right there.
Good point.
Yes.